I could easily sit and look at this thing all day. But as I do sit here and stare down the side of the freshly painted Transporter, there is a massive problem that has now become glaringly obvious. A little over a week ago, I dropped the T5.1 budget build off here. Elite Colours Auto Body Repairs in Carnarvon, North Wales. Paul, the owner, a subscriber of the channel, reached out after seeing how the years have been unkind to the Volkswagen Transporter and suggested that he might be the guy to turn back the clocks, bringing the budget build back to its former glory. Let's go take a look. Knock, knock. Wow, is this looking different? You'll have to excuse the noise in the background or anything like that. This is a fully functioning workshop. We're in different stages of progress by the look of it. Like, this has been prepared pretty much ready for primer and paint, and then we've got fresher bits of filler here. I've always suggested that this vehicle has had no TLC along the way. Not like us camper van owners, if we get a dent, we get it fixed. I thought that this vehicle had nothing, apart from that real dodgy patch on the tailgate, which was obvious, you could see it from a mile away. I suggested that this vehicle had next to no repairs offered to it in the past. Check that out. That is the extent of what that tailgate filler was. So Paul has been on a one-man mission to get the shape back as much as possible without using filler. So I've been sent a few pictures and I'll cue them over the top. But here, for example, he's put some kind of massive pulling tool on it to gain this shape back because that was bent in. And here, these swirl marks are the reminiscence of what I am told is called a shrinking tool. So when he's removed the filler, and that is the extent of the filler, and look, you can still see that it's there. He's still got to go a little bit further. For the sake of that little patch, that required so much filler. The shrinking tool apparently re-strengthens the steel. This is the bit where I come straight at you and say, I have no idea what I'm talking about. I've been told 3 technical bodywork implements at this moment. This is why I've handed it over to Paul, the professional. When I previously mentioned Raptoring this van, that would have been my get out of jail free card. That would have been a cover-all, and it doesn't have to be that way. Man 4x4 fam, a friend of mine, Ben, go check his channel out. The link to his channel will be in the description below. He has done an absolutely gorgeous job of Raptoring his van. It doesn't have to be that Artex kind of stipply, almost like concrete render look. You can thin it down. His looks like a vinyl wrap. Looks absolutely gorgeous. I haven't got the time and mentality to do this. This is not for me. I hate decorating my own house. I know that I would not achieve a good finish, even if I was to Raptor it. It's just not in my makeup to do this kind of thing. It requires patience and it requires an eye. The day I bought this van here, we had a good look round out there in the car park just over a week ago. Paul instantly noticed, and it is his job, so let's not give him too much credit, but he instantly noticed that it's got a little bit of a run down this side. I didn't see it, and if I'm truthful, I can't really see it now. I'm just nodding and saying, yeah, okay. But there's a suggestion that it's had a little bit of paint there, and I'm surprised because I thought this hadn't been cared for at all, but someone has attempted in the past, perhaps in the first 3 years of its life, while it was new, they have tried to rectify a few issues, but check this out. This is officially called the 15 Fingers of Satan puller. Check that out. Each one of these is a tiny little spot welded rod, and then a bar is put through there, and then some kind of big winch kind of pulls that out. Check this out. Paul sent me a little video on Sunday. Check this out. The budget build has had open heart surgery. This is the existing Sill. We did look, the royal we, at keeping this, trying to preserve everything that was original. It was just not possible. There's seams and shapes on there that are so bent and twisted and crimped, and it's just impossible to keep. So we've got a new Sill. Check that out. If you can pick that little bit up on the camera, that is actually replicating the factory seam in the van. So once it's painted, that will have a little bit of sealant, just like it would at factory. So that's not a cut line or something that's missing or waiting to be done. Look at that. That makes me feel so good inside. So that Sill now, being a new piece, is absolutely straight as a die. If I bought a van tomorrow, and I then took it around my mate's house to show him, look at my new van. And he said, you know that's had a new Sill, don't you? My heart would drop, obviously. Why has it had a new Sill? These vehicles aren't necessarily known for rusting out so much that you would need a new Sill necessarily, nothing that can't just be repaired, that kind of thing. That's why I'm documenting this whole kind of scenario. That was the correct thing to do. It was only bent. It's not a rot box. Ironically, we're yet to find any rust on this thing. It's so much better than I thought it would be. But a new Sill is the right thing to do. And to be honest, it's been done so well, I can't even see at the back where the join is. I think if you document something like this, so you could show the new owner what has been done and the level of care that this has been taken to do it, I think that's okay. I think this as an entirety, this is actually a benefit to this vehicle, totally, 100%. What are you doing to my poor van? You're not going to get many words from Paul, is what I can say. He knows his stuff, but he's not going to do much of this. What we are going to do in a minute is a demonstration of that Satan's finger pull thing. It wasn't as obvious, and I kind of overlooked it because the other Sill area kind of dominated all of my thoughts and feelings. But this Sill as well has had a bit of a knock. Nothing's broken, nothing's pierced. The paint wasn't even down to the metal in any way, but it has kind of been misshapen. So Paul is just getting set up. What we're going to do, we're going to add the fingers of Satan and see if we can pull that back to somewhere where it should be. Let's go. Any final words, Paul?
Hello.
Cue some workshop music.
Like cherries, you are so sweet, I'm a big dog. My feet bleed from dancing, like you're my big dog.
This is a friendly reminder you cannot get Archive through your TV screen.
Right.
crazy. Hammer and chisel to my van. I don't know if me and Paul can be friends much longer. It's hard to watch, but it's crazy how I say just pulling that out. There's some proper cool bits of kit being used there, but that's half of that issue down there. By pulling that first section out, we can now see that the next 3 or 4 inches needs similar kind of attention, but that is fascinating. That is honestly so cool to watch. Thank you, Paul. After spending a couple of hours here, honestly, I couldn't be happier with the fact that my vehicle is here at Elite Colours in Carnarvon, North Wales. It's 90 minutes from Manchester. That's why you find that most of my camping videos are here in North Wales. So, if you're in the Northwest area and you're after a decent body shop, do consider Elite Colours. Now, I, at this stage, can't vouch for the finish, can I? Because I've not seen any of the finishes. But if you're watching this video, I'm happy with the finish. The finish will be in a minute, but for now, I have a little present for Paul. In this box here are the makings of one decent wing mirror. If you watch the earlier episodes of the budget build, you'll know that one of the wing mirrors on the van is a pre-facelift transporter. It's obviously been smashed off at some point. That's why I have no radio, because the aerial is inside the wing mirror. What a lovely place to put it. A guy called Paul Knight reached out to me and said, you need a wing mirror? I've got some wing mirrors. Here you go. Originally, when we took a walk around the budget build, we were going to make use of this line here. Many painters do this. I had a van that was keyed once, and this is a natural break point to paint to. Most of the hard work for Paul has been on the lower section. That's where any kind of damages and any kind of misshapen parts are. What he's decided to do, and I'm quite happy about this, is at this stage we're here, and on the wing we're here, and on the bonnet, he's totally done the bonnet, and the tailgate similar. At this stage, he's kind of suggested that from that line up, there isn't any damage. So a little bit of prep work. Long story short, the budget build is having a full respray. Bar the roof. He doesn't say much, Paul, but when he says it, quality, bar the roof. Full discretion, I bet this roof hasn't been washed in years, but this is in better condition than when I received my brand new van from Volkswagen. Check that out, not a spot of rust. Ironically, not much grime either. One piece of bird poo, but that does not even begin to compete with what was on the T7. Gonna leave that in the capable hands of Elite Colours for hopefully another week or so, and then we get to pick it up in its finished glory. Paul has offered to take care of the bumpers and things like that. He's going to town on this thing. I think he loves it more than I do. That's something that I want to do on a budget at home for you guys. So probably now, snap forward. Check that out. Unlike me, a little bit lost for words. Elite Colours Auto Body Repairs in Carnarvon have smashed this out the park. When I did leave it with Paul, I did ask if he was willing to take some photos and maybe a little bit of footage just to support what I'm about to say on the big reveal. He's also smashed that out the park. It is in portrait, so I'll probably put that here as I'm going through it. This tailgate, as I mentioned previous, this and the side sill damage was the most obvious parts of the van that needed sorting out. The filler ranged right up to here and right the way down there. He's pulled as much out as possible using the metal that's already there, rather than just bogging it over and filling any kind of hole that was there, which is what the previous repair looked to be. He has actually tried his hardest to make it as straight as possible. And then the section of filler that he's put in here was basically just a skim over to hide where he's actually used the tools, if that makes sense. By using those tools, it leaves evidence of using them tools. So basically it's just covering his tracks over. So if it looks like there's a lot of filler, that is just a over the top by the looks of it. Honestly, oh, I can't believe it. This van is 16 years old, and I've got to tell you, if I took care of the bumpers, so put some coded flashy bumper on it, drop that on its arse and put some wheels on it, I could enter that into a show and shine and it would do well. I can promise you, this camera is never going to convey exactly how good this thing looks. There is work to do, don't get me wrong, all of which will feature on this channel. I was quite lucky in the fact that these areas were free of any kind of rust, and it was really surprising, but opening that door and just looking at that, wow. And it's things like this that just make me warm inside. There's a rubber strip here, like a weather strip. That was removed, the van was painted, and then he's ordered another one. So we got this brand new weather strip here, all new door rubbers. Honestly, it's quickly becoming my favourite one of the fleet. And don't get on and say, yeah, that's because your other one's a wet belt and your other one's a big black turd. Be kind. New reflector. I purchased some new lights, only about 40 quid on Facebook Marketplace. This one had a crack in it, which I knew about. But this one, and I'm surprised none of you guys spotted this. Remember we had a pre-facelift wing mirror, which has now been taken care of. This light here, this lens, was actually a barn door version, and the only difference was there's a slight little rounded edge on this corner. So the pair that I bought come in handy. They are not part of the budget, and I will explain that further down the line in a couple of minutes. This is still a budget build. It may be one of the nicest ones out there. I am so super impressed. We need to get ourselves a nice new little badge. I was very lucky. While this tailgate was dented within an inch of its life, there wasn't a bit of rust on it. I've seen tailgates for sale, because I've been looking, for £400 or £500, and all this area around here is like rusty. I appreciate that you can fix a piece of rust by cutting a piece of metal out and putting a new bit in, grind it down. How do you go about fixing grot that is in and around a curved area like that? We didn't find, the royal we, any rust on this bad boy. I'm so surprised. That van is just beautiful. I am fully aware that I am showing you a grey Volkswagen Transporter. There is literally nothing to see. But how far does that mean that this van has come? Because the first thought that comes to my mind, or came to my mind, regarding this van when I looked at it or thought about it, was that sill damage. I felt like I could see it from anywhere in the world. It kind of played on me. There is literally nothing to see. I'll never hide the fact that that's been repaired. That's why I'm documenting this. I think that being repaired in that way is actually a bonus to the van. It's been epoxied, Paul told me, on the underside, so it will be safe from any kind of weathering and rusting and things like that. It's all been done super proper to the highest order. Now, you may suggest that it's no longer a budget build, but it is. I could easily sit and look at this thing all day. So I did. But as I do sit here and stare down the side of the freshly painted Transporter, there is a massive problem that has now become glaringly obvious. It's not the workmanship from Elite Colours Auto Body Repairs in Carnarvon, couldn't be happier, honestly. It's not even the fact that this budget build is at about £18,000. I will explain how this is still definitely a budget build in a second. The problem is, it was never supposed to be this nice. The idea that I bought a van that was 4Motion with diff lock and that was old and it was a bit tatty and it had a few dents on it was that I could take it and bash it up some hills and I wouldn't really care about it. Has Paul made it a little bit too nice? I know there's not really such a thing. I'll always try to take care of it. I just need to make sure that I still go and do the things that I was set out to do with this thing. The whole narrative of me having a third van, because I don't need a third van, is that I go and abuse it. And at the moment, I wouldn't even want to stick a magnet camera mount to the side of it because it's just, look at it. How is this van still, I can't stop smiling. How is this van still a budget build? The budget build starts now. And I know you may say, well, you're using that because you've spent all of this money. I'm never suggesting that you go and buy a vehicle that needs bodywork. If you do, I suggest you go to Elite Colours and get yourself sorted out. I bought this van because this was the only van that was available that was 4Motion and diff lock. I didn't just want even a 4Motion. You can get a 4Motion Volkswagen Transporter of similar age for about 5 or 6 grand that don't need any bodywork. The idea is you go buy a van, whether or not that be £1,500 or £7,000. You can get super clean vans that aren't 4Motion for £7,000. You can get one for £8,000 that's had a bit of work done to it. You can get a day van or even a converted van for 10 grand. The point is, go and buy yourself a Volkswagen Transporter, if you wish, and from now, follow me as I take £7,000 and turn this into an absolutely wicked full camper van. If my steering rack went tomorrow, that's not going to come off of the £7,000. It's not going to go tomorrow because I've learned that the guy that flipped this in between the original owner and me had to put a new steering rack in it, and they were £1,200, so my steering rack should be good for a minute. All of those things are just fundamentals. If the engine did pop, that's not going to be part of the £7,000, of course it's not. Things like that are irrelevant or should be irrelevant to your build. Go get yourself a Transporter. Yours might need body, it might not. Starting from now, buying an empty panel van that is now, so wheels, got a bumper hack coming, the internals, the electrics, the plumbing, all of that, I'm going to try and wrap up in a nice little bubble of £7,000. Now, join me next week because I've spent the first lot of money and I've spent £500 on the quickest upgrade, the easiest upgrade, the most obvious upgrade, £500 spent towards that budget. Do hit the subscribe, please, it is free and it helps the channel out massively. See you next Tuesday.